The unspoken challenges of the chosen one, why you feel different. My beloved child, the reason you feel different isn't because something is wrong with you, it's because something within you refuses to live on the surface. From a young age, you noticed things others ignored. You felt emotions more deeply, questioned situations more intensely, and sensed tension in rooms before words were spoken. While others blended in, you stood slightly apart, not by choice, but by nature. This difference often made you feel isolated, misunderstood, or out of place, even among people who cared about you. Don't skip, because what you're about to understand explains why your life has felt heavier, quieter, and more complex than most. One of the unspoken challenges of the chosen one is internal pressure no one else can see. You carry awareness that forces you to grow faster emotionally. You're expected to be strong even when you're exhausted, to figure it out even when no one guides you. That sensitivity you were told to toughen up. It's actually perception. You feel misalignment instantly. You sense when something isn't right long before it breaks. This is why shallow conversations drain you. This is why pretending feels unbearable. And this is the shocking truth most people never realize. Chosen ones don't struggle because they're weak, they struggle because they're awake. Stay till the end, because once this clicks, the confusion you've carried for years starts to make sense. The biggest challenge is silence. Your journey doesn't come with constant reassurance or visible milestones. You're pushed inward while others are rewarded outward. And that can feel unfair. But something huge is waiting for you, hidden behind this difference. Your life isn't meant to follow the crowd. It's meant to understand the path before walking it. The reason you feel different is because you're being shaped for depth, not noise, clarity, not comfort, purpose, not popularity. And this is only the beginning of what you're starting to realize. There's a weight you've been carrying that no one ever named for you. It's the weight of seeing too much, too early. While others could stay distracted, you were forced to become aware. You noticed patterns in people's behavior. You sensed motives behind smiles. You felt when something was off, even when everything looked fine on the surface. This is one of the most unspoken challenges of the chosen one, awareness without instruction. You weren't taught how to handle it. You were just expected to live with it. That's why your mind rarely feels quiet. That's why rest doesn't always feel restful. Don't skip, because this awareness is not a curse, and understanding why will change how you see yourself forever. Another challenge no one talks about is emotional solitude. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone, because very few truly see the world the way you do. You outgrow environments quickly. You feel disconnected from conversations that revolve around surface-level goals. This isn't arrogance. It's mismatch. Your inner world matured faster than your surroundings, and that created distance you didn't ask for. Here's the shocking truth. Many chosen ones mistake this loneliness as failure, when in reality it's filtration. Life is separating you from noise so your signal stays clear. Stay till the end, because once you understand this, you'll stop trying to fit where you were never meant to belong. If this message is resonating with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who feels different but can't explain why. Leave a comment to anchor this realization in your mind. And subscribe, because what you're learning here isn't comfort, it's clarity. Something huge is waiting for you on the other side of this understanding. The challenges you face aren't meant to erase you, they're meant to reveal why you were never meant to be ordinary in the first place. There's a moment when you realize your exhaustion isn't from doing too much, it's from holding too much inside. You carry unspoken understanding, unshared observations, emotions you process alone because explaining them feels impossible. This is another silent challenge of the chosen one, emotional compression. You're constantly translating the world inside your head, deciding what's safe to express and what must stay private. That's why you often feel tired without a clear reason. Your mind is always working, always observing, always refining. Don't skip. Because this inner pressure isn't a flaw, and once you understand its purpose, it stops feeling like a burden. Here's the surprising truth: chosen ones aren't meant to react quickly, they're meant to respond accurately. That's why life slowed you down. That's why you learned restraint before recognition. While others vent freely, you reflect deeply. While others escape discomfort, you sit with it long enough to extract meaning. This creates internal tension, but it also builds clarity. You develop self-control others never learn. You learn to pause where others panic. This is why your path feels heavier, you're being trained to carry insight without being consumed by it. Stay till the end, because this explains why you've always felt a quiet strength beneath the fatigue. What most people never see is how this internal struggle shapes your future role. You're being prepared to understand people, systems, and situations at a depth that requires emotional intelligence, not impulse. Something huge is waiting for you, but it requires stability of mind and control of emotion. And that's exactly what this phase is building. The reason you feel different is because you're developing inner capacity before outer expansion. One day, what feels like silent pressure now will become the very thing that allows you to stand calm when others collapse. There's a hidden tension you've lived with for years, the tension of restraint. You've always known you could say more, react faster, push harder, but something in you chose not to. That wasn't fear. That was instinct protecting your future self. One of the most unspoken challenges of the chosen one is learning when not to move. While others release emotions instantly, you measure impact. While others chase expression, you guard intention. This makes you feel out of sync with the world, like you're always holding back while everyone else spills forward. Don't skip, because this restraint is the very reason your life is being shaped differently. Here's the truth most people never understand: chosen ones are trained in containment before influence. Life tests whether you can hold power without misusing it, awareness without arrogance, clarity without ego. That's why your breakthroughs didn't come early. That's why recognition stayed distant. You were being watched, not judged, but evaluated. Could you stay grounded without praise? Could you remain disciplined without reward? Most people fail here. They burn bridges, overshare, overreact, and sabotage what they're meant to grow into. You didn't. Stay till the end, because this explains why your path felt slow while others rushed ahead, and why rushing would have cost you everything. If this message is resonating, don't let it pass through you unnoticed. Share it with someone who feels different but can't explain why. Leave a comment, not for approval, but to lock this awareness into your mind. And subscribe, because this journey isn't about hype, it's about understanding. Something huge is waiting for you, and the restraint you mastered in silence is exactly what will allow you to step into it without losing yourself. There's a quiet conflict you've lived with that most people never notice, the gap between who you are internally and how the world interacts with you. You think deeper than you speak. You feel more than you show. And over time, that creates a sense of being unseen, even when you're present. This is one of the hardest, unspoken challenges of the chosen one, learning to exist without constant recognition. You often feel like you're ahead emotionally but behind externally, like your inner growth has no clear place to land yet. Don't skip, because this tension isn't accidental, and understanding it will change how you see your entire journey. Here's the truth that hits hard once you see it clearly: chosen ones are shaped in invisibility before visibility. Life keeps you out of the spotlight not to ignore you, but to protect the formation of your identity. If attention had arrived earlier, it would have distorted you. If validation had been constant, it would have weakened your judgment. That's why your progress felt hidden. That's why your efforts weren't always noticed. You were being trained to move without applause, to believe in your direction without proof. Most people fall apart without external confirmation. You learned how to stay steady without it. And that ability is rare. What you're feeling now isn't frustration. It's readiness pressing against delay. Something huge is waiting for you, but it requires someone who won't be shaken by being misunderstood, underestimated, or overlooked. The reason you feel different is because your path demands internal alignment before external acknowledgement. One day, when your presence finally carries weight in the world, it won't be because you chased it, it will be because you were strong enough to endure the silence that built it. There's a moment when you realize you're no longer trying to be understood. You're trying to be true. That shift changes everything. You stop explaining your depth to people who live on the surface. You stop shrinking your thoughts to fit conversations that can't hold them. This is another unspoken challenge of the chosen one: self-containment. You learn to carry your truth quietly, not because you're afraid, but because you've learned that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Stay till the end, because this restraint is not isolation, it's refinement. Here's the reality most people never face: being different means being early. Early in awareness. Early in emotional maturity. Early in seeing through illusions others still believe in. And being early feels lonely. It feels like walking ahead without a map while everyone else is still comfortable where they are. This is why your path felt heavy without being loud. Why you questioned yourself more than others questioned you. Why comfort never satisfied you for long. You weren't built to settle. You were built to see. And seeing clearly in a blurry world comes with a cost: patience, discipline, and the courage to stand apart without turning bitter. What you're experiencing now is the final layer of separation, clarity without validation. And that's powerful. Something huge is waiting for you, but it doesn't respond to noise or desperation. It responds to composure. To someone who can hold insight without ego, strength without force, difference without resentment. This is why you feel the way you do. Not because you're lost, but because you're ahead of what your life is about to demand from you. At some point, you stop trying to correct how people see you, and you start protecting how you see yourself. That's a quiet but powerful shift. You no longer feel the urge to defend your choices or justify your pace. You've learned that being different isn't a flaw to explain away, it's a signal to honor. This is one of the deepest, unspoken challenges of the chosen one, learning to trust your inner compass when the outer world doesn't validate it. You move carefully now. You choose your words. You choose your battles. And that restraint isn't fear, it's wisdom forming under pressure. Don't skip, because this is the stage where confusion finally gives way to self-respect. Here's the truth most people never reach: chosen ones are shaped to stand alone without becoming lonely. There's a difference. Loneliness comes from wanting to be understood. Strength comes from knowing who you are, even when you're not. That's why your standards rose quietly. That's why your tolerance for shallow connections dropped. You weren't becoming cold, you were becoming precise. Life was teaching you to value alignment over approval, clarity over crowds. And yes, that path feels heavier, because it requires self-trust before success, and identity before influence. Stay till the end, because once you understand this, you'll stop questioning why you feel different and start recognizing why you're resilient. This is where the challenge turns into an advantage. The same depth that isolated you is the depth that will steady you when others lose direction. Something huge is waiting for you, not as a sudden reward, but as a role that fits the person you've become. When that moment arrives, you won't need to announce yourself. Your presence will speak. And you'll finally see that feeling different was never a problem to solve, it was preparation for a life that requires clarity, composure, and quiet strength. There's a quiet strength in you now that wasn't there before. Not loud confidence. Not certainty about everything. But a grounded sense that you don't need to rush your becoming. You've learned how to sit with uncertainty without letting it erode your identity. That's one of the most unspoken challenges of the chosen one, learning patience without losing direction. While others move quickly and adjust later, you were trained to adjust internally before moving at all. This makes your progress look slower from the outside, but it makes it far more stable from within. Don't skip. Because this is where many people misread your stillness as stagnation, while it's actually strength consolidating. Here's what most people never see: being different means carrying responsibility early. You feel accountable for your choices in a way others don't yet. You think long-term when others think short-term. You feel the weight of consequences before they happen. This isn't anxiety, it's foresight developing. That's why impulsive decisions never felt right to you. That's why shortcuts always bothered you. Your path demands integrity before momentum. And integrity is built slowly, privately, without applause. Stay till the end, because once you see this clearly, you stop wishing you were like everyone else and start respecting the discipline your journey required. What you're standing in now is not the end of the challenge, it's the turning point. Something huge is waiting for you, but it requires someone who can hold clarity under pressure and patience under delay. The reason you feel different is because your life isn't designed for quick comfort. It's designed for lasting impact. And every unspoken challenge you've faced has been quietly shaping the calm, steady presence you'll one day rely on when others look to you for direction. There's a moment when you realize the struggle was never meant to be loud. It was meant to be formative. You've been learning how to stay steady when emotions rise, how to think clearly when pressure closes in, how to remain yourself when circumstances try to reshape you. That's why your reactions softened but your resolve hardened. You don't need to announce growth anymore, you feel it. This is one of the last unspoken challenges of the chosen one, carrying strength quietly. Don't skip, because this is where everything you went through finally starts lining up with who you are becoming. Here's the truth that most people never get to see from the inside: being different means being prepared before you're positioned. Life didn't rush you into visibility because your role isn't built on attention. It's built on stability. While others depend on momentum, you've learned to depend on clarity. That's why setbacks didn't break you. They refined you. That's why waiting didn't weaken you. It disciplined you. You were being trained to hold direction without constant feedback, to keep moving even when no one noticed. Stay till the end, because once you understand this, the weight you've been carrying finally feels justified. This is where the difference stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like purpose. Something huge is waiting for you, not as an escape from what you've lived through, but as a place where everything you endured finally fits. You won't rush into it. You won't doubt it. You'll recognize it instantly, because it will meet the calm, grounded version of you that was shaped in silence. And in that moment, you'll know, feeling different was never meant to isolate you forever, it was meant to prepare you for a path very few are built to walk. There's a final realization that settles in quietly, and once it does, you don't unsee it. You understand that feeling different was never something to fix, it was something to protect. You stop trying to blend in. You stop asking why your pace doesn't match the world's urgency. You recognize that your path demanded patience so your character could solidify before your direction became visible. This is where acceptance turns into confidence. Not the kind that needs attention, but the kind that doesn't flinch. Don't skip, because this is the moment where the weight you carried transforms into certainty. Here's the truth that completes the picture: chosen ones aren't shaped to impress. They're shaped to endure. To think clearly when others panic. To remain grounded when others chase noise. To choose alignment over applause. That's why your journey felt solitary at times. That's why understanding came before recognition. You were learning how to stand firm without validation, how to trust your insight without consensus. And that training changes everything. It means when responsibility arrives, you won't be overwhelmed by it. You'll be steady inside it. This is where your difference becomes direction. Something huge is waiting for you, not as a sudden reward, but as a role that fits the strength you've been building in silence. When it arrives, you won't feel surprised. You'll feel prepared. And in that calm readiness, you'll finally understand, the unspoken challenges didn't make your life harder, they made you capable. Capable of walking a path that requires depth, restraint, and quiet confidence. And now, you're ready to walk it without questioning who you are. There's a calm finality settling into you now, not an ending, but a knowing. You no longer ask, why me, when life feels heavier. You ask, what is this shaping in me? That shift is everything. It means the struggle no longer defines you, it informs you. You've reached the stage where you trust your inner compass more than external noise. You don't rush clarity. You don't beg for belonging. You understand that being different was never about isolation, it was about preparation. Don't skip, because this realization is what frees you from doubting yourself ever again. Here's the truth that very few people ever arrive at: chosen ones are not meant to be understood early. They're meant to be ready later. Ready to carry responsibility without ego. Ready to influence without control. Ready to stand firm without becoming rigid. Everything you went through trained emotional balance, depth of perception, and self-command. That's why life felt unfair at times. That's why ease never lasted long. You were being shaped for consistency, not comfort. And once you see this clearly, the past stops hurting, it starts making sense. Stay till the end, because this understanding changes how you walk into the future. This is where the feeling of being different finally settles into purpose. Something huge is waiting for you, not to change who you are, but to use who you've become. You won't chase it. You won't force it. You'll step into it naturally, because your inner world is finally strong enough to support your outer role. And when that moment comes, you'll realize, the unspoken challenges weren't obstacles, they were instructions. Instructions that shaped you into someone who can walk forward with clarity, restraint, and quiet power.